From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, March 14th. We started off really cold in the low mid-20s, and we're not going to budge a whole lot. It's going to be breezy coming out of the northwest, and we're going to get highs in the upper 30s to low 40s, and even a colder start tomorrow morning. A local doctor says his staff is feeling the effects of gun violence in Indianapolis. Dr. Bradley Sherman is a surgeon specializing in trauma and acute care at Eskenazi Hospital. He tells News 8 gunshot wounds require a massive response in terms of hospital personnel. He says that can stretch resources too thin.
Oftentimes there are one, if not two, trauma physicians in at night with multiple teams, and that resource becomes overutilized because there's multiple influx of traumas, whether that be from penetrating trauma, as you alluded to, gunshots, or from motorcycles or car wrecks, that can start strapping the system and availability of personnel.
The concern comes as Indianapolis is seeing a recent jump in the rate of homicides in the city. Formal charges are filed against the man accused in a fatal shooting outside Lucas Oil Stadium. Elijah Hayes is charged with murdering Donnie Sanders last week. As we've reported, the search for Hayes prompted a lockdown at the convention center. The Marion County prosecutor credits a collaboration between witnesses, local businesses, and police for finding Hayes. He's set to appear in court for the first time tomorrow. A man now faces charges in the shooting of another man outside the Greenwood Ale Emporium. Police arrested Marco Gonzalez yesterday. Investigators say he shot Timothy Sanito to death last week during an argument in the restaurant's parking lot. Police say Gonzalez is in the Johnson County Jail. As of this morning, the formal charges are not yet listed online. A serious crash in Jasper County injures a family, and police are not sure if the child will survive. It happened early yesterday morning on I-65. According to police, a semi-tanker drove into a median and rolled, spilling liquid sugar on the interstate. The cleanup caused a backup. Police say that's when a box truck driver did not see the stopped traffic and rear-ended a car. That car slammed into a pickup and a tractor trailer. Police say crews had to pull out the driver of the car, who was seriously injured. Medics also took a 4-year-old boy and his parents in the pickup to the hospital. Police say the child has life-threatening injuries. The semi and box truck drivers were not hurt. No word on possible charges. The case will be turned over to the prosecutor. From I-Team 8, a bill moving through the State House could make major changes to the 911 system. A House committee passed it yesterday. The new measure would create a central database for 911 call centers across the state to let them communicate with each other. Currently, the 911 system does not communicate across most county lines. That means a 911 caller may not get the police, fire, or medics closest to them. The executive director of Indiana's statewide 911 board says the problem dates back years.
It brings it to the forefront, and a lot of people are starting to look at that and say, this needs to be fixed. I think everybody's aware it's been there for a while. Now it's our chance to make a difference.
The bill moves to the full House next. If it becomes law, the measure allows 18 months for dispatch centers to adopt the changes. In your multicultural spotlight, 2 local organizations are working to minimize opioid overdoses in communities of color. Her Living and Ujima Wellness are holding monthly naloxone training sessions. Organizers say attendees will learn how to spot the signs of an overdose and how to respond. The training also comes with 2 free doses of naloxone. The training is free. Registration is required. The first session is March 24th. U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Economic Development, Alejandro Castillo, is coming to Indianapolis today. She'll join local and state stakeholders to discuss the formation of tech hubs across the country. Senator Todd Young will also be there. Tech hubs are a key component of Young's CHIPS and Science Act, which became law last year. It will see $10 billion go toward the creation of at least 20 tech hubs. Today's event is at Innovation Building Number 1 at 16 Tech on Waterway Boulevard. It starts at 11:30 this morning. Bishops and other clergy members plan to deliver an open letter to lawmakers today. It pushes for full funding for a mental health crisis response system. Faith in Indiana is leading the charge with the Black Coalition. The group is calling on legislators to support Senate Bill 1. The measure expands mental health services to a 988 crisis response center and hotline, provides mobile crisis response counselors, and would require Medicaid reimbursement for behavioral health. It has already passed the House. Our reporter, Amisha Ramsey, spoke with Dr. Carlo Perkins, a pastor at Bethel Cathedral AME. He says today's call to action emphasizes the importance of funding the mental health crisis response system.
It's one thing to pass the bill that was passed in the Senate. This bill needs to be funded. And our call, our prophetic stance as ordained clergy in the Black Church Coalition is to call upon our elected officials to ensure that this bill is given the appropriate funding so that residents across the state of Indiana could be assured that if they have a family member that's in crisis, that they'll get the support that they need.
Today's visit to the State House is a follow-up from last month's kickoff rally. Faith leaders in Indiana brought together more than 800 community leaders to push for passage of the bill. The rally is set to take place at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Faith in Indiana says it will host more rallies this month. Australia is set to buy new nuclear-powered submarines from the United States. The Defense Department says America will send Virginia-class attack subs. President Biden and leaders from Australia and the United Kingdom announced the plan yesterday. It's all part of a three-way defense partnership called AUKUS, Australia, UK, US. It started in 2021. The sub deal comes as all three countries have expressed growing worries about China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region. Australia will get at least 3 and possibly 5 of the submarines through the new deal. The FBI reports a year-to-year jump in hate crimes. A new comprehensive report from the Bureau shows an increase of nearly 12% from 2020 to 2021. The survey says more than 12,000 people were victims of hate crimes that year. The FBI says nearly 65% were crimes based on race or ethnicity. Almost 16% centered on sexual orientation, and more than 14% involved the victim's religion. Authorities are charging 10 more people in connection with a scheme to defraud a federal child nutrition program during the pandemic. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota announced the charges yesterday. They include conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, and bribery. Officials say the defendants allegedly stole $250 million from the Minnesota-based Feeding Our Future nonprofit. Investigators say they misappropriated the funds instead of helping underserved children receive adequate nutrition. The Department of Justice charged 47 people in the scheme back in September. The Federal Reserve says it will reassess its supervision of Silicon Valley Bank. The president is also outlining his plan to contain the collapse. The Fed's vice chair for supervision, Michael Barr, is leading the investigation. He'll focus on how regulators missed the signs of the financial storm. President Biden addressed Americans yesterday, urging them to remain calm. We brought you that speech live on Daybreak on Wish TV yesterday. Biden promised to fire bank management. He said customer deposits will be protected while investors will not be protected. Biden says customers can access their funds because banks pay into a federal deposit insurance fund. Christoph Kleiner is a finance professor at IU's Kelley School of Business. He tells ITMate it's likely some Indiana businesses have money tied up in the bank.
Right. A number of large startups are in Indianapolis and other parts of Indiana, and so they might actually be customers of this bank. Now, I don't think it's a direct concern for them because the U.S. government has already said that all depositors will get their money back. But at least temporarily, it might be a concern for those companies to be able to match their payroll.
Kleiner warns bank customers in Indiana could be at risk if they have some of the same investments. The Federal Reserve says it will release its findings by May 1st. In the meantime, Democratic leaders say Congress will look at the causes of bank failure. A pioneering lawmaker has died. Pat Schroeder was the first woman elected to Congress from her home state of Colorado. She served 12 terms and was known as a pioneer for the rights of women and families. She also tested the waters of a run for president in 1987. Her former press secretary says Schroeder suffered a stroke recently and died last night. Schroeder was 82. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell will undergo physical therapy after being discharged from the hospital. That's according to a spokesman for McConnell. As we've reported, McConnell entered the hospital last Wednesday after falling during a dinner at a D.C. hotel. He suffered a concussion and a broken rib. The spokesperson says he'll do the therapy at an inpatient rehab center before returning home. McConnell says he appreciates the prayers and well wishes he's received. And today, details about a new effort aimed at getting more mentors or bigs for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is partnering with the program called 500 Bigs by the Indy 500. Big Brothers Big Sisters says more than 1,400 young people in central Indiana are waiting for matches. We know a recruitment campaign runs until the race on May 28th. We expect to learn specifics of the track's plans when leaders speak this morning at 10 o'clock at the Speedway. To business headlines, some breaking news this morning. Facebook parent company Meta slashes 10,000 jobs and will not fill 500 open positions. The company said today it's going to reduce the size of its recruiting team and make further cuts in its tech groups in late April and then its business groups in late May. CEO Mark Zuckerberg did release a statement. He said this will be tough and there's no way around that. It will mean saying goodbye to talented and passionate colleagues who have been a part of our success. Consumer inflation may have cooled in February, but only slightly. Economists expect prices to have risen year over year by 6%. Rising inflation has been complicated by the banking crisis, as it may force the Federal Reserve to slow down interest rates. Wall Street's confidence in regional banks remains shaky today. First Republic shares fell more than 60% and were briefly halted for volatility. Western Alliance Bancorp stock also fell 47%, and PacWest Bancorp fell more than 20%. Some people who bank at those places are taking money out and putting it into too-big-to-fail banks. President Biden's assurances that their deposits are safe did not help. For the second straight week, the nation's average price of gasoline has risen, jumping 8 cents from a week ago to $3.44 a gallon Sunday, according to Gas Buddy data. With the transition to more expensive summer gasoline underway coast to coast, wholesale gasoline prices continue to inch up at a rate typical for this time of year. AAA says the current average in central Indiana is $3.34 a gallon. Pfizer agreed to purchase cancer drug maker Seagen for $43 billion. Seagen is a leader in precision medicines, delivering cancer-killing drugs so potent they might otherwise be too toxic to use. The new delivery mechanism uses antibodies to deposit a strong concentration of drug directly at a tumor site, which may increase efficacy with fewer side effects. And finally, you've just got a few more hours left to join Wish TV's basketball bracket bonanza. Today is the last day to submit a bracket. If you win, a home theater system and a 65-inch 4K TV are up for grabs. You'll be able to track how your bracket's doing, as well as compete against us on the Daybreak team. To sign up, open up the Wish TV app on your phone, then scroll down, find the story, and there are easy links where you can make a login and sign up. It's free. It's fun. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.